This is Bad Karma Wrestling.
Give me a hell yeah!
With no gimmick Nick Johnston.
It doesn't matter how you feel!
And David Double D Dykstra.
And welcome everybody to BK Dub, BK Dub,
BK Dub, BK Dub, woo!
It is your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestling show, live from the Illinois Media School. Ready to roll here. No gimmicks, Nick Johnston. To my right, my tag team partner, Double D, David Dykstra. How you doing today, David?
What's going on, peeps?
Ooh, we're ready to roll. We got tons of stuff going on today.
It looked like a crab right there.
We got double or nothing. Ooh, little Hans Krabs going on. He was over at CSW.
Mr. Krab.
Double or nothing today. Saturday night's main event to talk about as well, and then a very special interview towards the end of today's episode. Stick around for the whole thing. Ended up talking for way longer than I thought it was going to be, but it was a great conversation with Steve Ahrendt. He is the GM and the commentator for Chicago Style Wrestling, a very, very big and one of my favorite local indie shows in the Chicagoland area. So it was a treat to talk to him, and actually, he's actually also a grad of IMS, so that was fun to talk to.
Cool.
Yeah. So everything else in between, like I said, we can go ahead and just rip the Band-Aid off, get ready to roll. Talking double or nothing right off the top of the bat.
Can we just, this might be the most stacked wrestling weekend I've seen in a very, very long time.
I mean, yeah.
You got SmackDown tonight. You have, let's just do this. Monday night, Raw. Tuesday, NXT. Wednesday, Dynamite. Thursday, Collision. SmackDown's tonight. Then you have Saturday night's main event on Saturday, and not one, but two pay-per-views, or
PLEs, pay-per-views.
One pay-per-view, one PLE.
Yeah, one of each, yeah.
On Sunday, which makes no sense to me. I think it's a bad move by WWE to try and go head-to-head with AEW.
Yeah.
In that aspect. Why not hold it off for a week?
I mean, they've been doing this. They've been matching.
Why? You're going to lose.
Yeah.
You might have a lot of people hit the replay.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have a ton of, I think you're going to have a ton of buys for this AEW pay-per-view. You're having a lot of consistent buys for the AEW pay-per-views.
Oh, I'm going to buy.
And I mean, this one's just another stack card. And exactly right. It might, you might, if you have multiple screens, you could probably play, double or nothing with the volume on. What's up? No, it starts at 7. Starts at 7 Central.
They're going head-to-head.
Yeah. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. I know. Well, they'll be done like an hour and a half before double or nothing.
Makes sense on why they have Joe Hendry on the card.
I guess so. Yeah. We'll kind of, like I said,
I know you're not a Joe Hendry fan.
Yeah, we'll lightly touch upon the Battleground when we get into the WWE section. But yeah, like I said, we can go ahead and, like you mentioned, double or nothing, Battleground. We got everything.
Saturday night main event.
Saturday night's main event.
SmackDown tonight, which is
no rest for a wrestling fan this weekend.
My girlfriend is going to hate me.
Well, let's go ahead and dive right into the AEW card right here. We got a match. Okay, we'll start off with that one right there. FTR and the return of Nigel McGuinness after his other return initially at All In not too long ago. But Nigel McGuinness making an in-ring return in tag team action against FTR. What are we thinking here? I think we both have FTR for different reasons.
I mean, we're both leaning FTR. I'm leaning FTR because they just started their heel run. Why are you going to kill that momentum? It just makes sense that they go over here, too. What better way to prove that you're the most technically sound tag team in the world by taking out the probably two top guys, technically, that are in AEW, period?
Yeah. Daniel Garcia holding his own technically for sure, and then Nigel McGuinness obviously a legend in that sense. Again, if there's ever a guy that's going to come back and maybe have, ring rust, but obviously didn't really see that the last time, but good to have, dance partners, tag partners with FTR to have that. They're going to make each other look great. It is going to be a fun match.
I bet, yeah. It's going to be a solid match.
Yeah, it'll be solid. Up next, we're going to talk the stretcher match between Ricochet and Mark Briscoe. One shaved, one bald. But first stretcher match in AEW history. What are we thinking here?
I mean, something crazy's going to happen. Probably multiple crazy things are going to happen in this match.
Ricochets across the board here.
But once again, are you going to kill the momentum of Ricochet as a heel?
No. I think Mark Briscoe is a great ball player. Like he knows his role. Put the guys over well. You're gonna get a good match out of him no matter what.
You're gonna get your spots.
Yeah, I think him and TK have a really good understanding that like the Briscoe family is gonna be taken care of underneath them for a good ample amount of time. So
my question is, does Zach Gowen show up at any
oh,
point?
that'd be fun. He's in the ambulance because he's got his.
Is it an ambulance match?
No,
or is
so
it
he has to take the stretcher to the ambulance.
Okay.
Yes. So and then put him in there. Then they'll do the whole gimmick where they probably tap it and send him off. So
all right,
that'll be fun. Like I said, it'll be the first AEW stretcher match here in said company. So Ricochet across the board. I think it'll be fun. Like I said, nothing too crazy, nothing to write home to mom about, but it'll be cool. Up next, I see they added on just the other day the Don Callis family versus the Paragon. So it's going to be, let me make sure we got good here. Obviously, Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly taking on, there we go. So we got Josh Alexander, Kyle Fletcher, and Konosuke Takeshita, the Don Callis family. Kind of added on very late. Nothing, I got really nothing here. I think the Paragon,
nope.
I say that.
Nope. Are you really going to have Takeshita, Alexander, and Fletcher lose again?
Yeah, no, you can't. Yeah, with that being said, I'll go with the Don Callis family. Yeah.
I think,
and that could set up a nice.
Was it ever explained why they changed their name?
The Paragon?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear the reason why.
What the fudge ruckers?
I don't know.
That pisses me off.
But either way, that does maybe within that match that sets up a challenger for Adam Cole's TNT title.
It's a great match.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of those where everybody's like, "Oh, they threw that together really quick." What the heck? Yeah, it's going to bang because Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, and
you put them three together. It's just great chemistry. It's
great chemistry, and the other guys can go. So
it's gonna be
I'd kind of like to see Alexander get over.
Yeah, and
because he's jobbed twice.
Yeah, exactly. Since coming back, he hasn't really shown anything too crazy for Josh Alexander. So that'd be nice to put him over in any sort of way. Maybe he gets the pin over like Kyle O'Reilly or something. Who knows? Continuing on in the Continental Championship match, Okada. This will be Okada's 12th defense of the Continental Championship, going up against Speedball Mike Bailey. I think that we were talking about this right before we went live. I think this is gonna be so much fun. This could be, Steeler, maybe the show Steeler.
I think it might be the surprise of the show, where everybody's like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
Because everybody was saying the same thing when they put Bailey up against Kenny Omega in TNA. Everybody's like, what are they doing? And they went out there and had a banger.
Yeah.
Just an unbelievably great match. So my personal opinion is, I think everybody's going to get their spots here. I think Bailey's going to look phenomenal, but in the end, of course, job to Okada because they are setting up a unification.
Yeah, they're going to set up for the International/Continental Championship unification at All In. But again, Mike Bailey's going to look good enough, and I think Okada will put him over in a sense. That's exactly right. He'll be able to get his stuff in, but still make Okada look like
By the way, I don't know if you noticed this or not. Okada is no longer doing the bitch.
He isn't? I thought he slipped that in last week. No,
he walked away.
Oh,
and Renee Paquette stood there, and he came back and said the same thing that he said right before he left the microphone. I mean, don't get me wrong, still funny, still hilarious, and it'll get over. But him not going bitch anymore kind of made me sad.
A little bit. So yeah, again, retaining there. Continuing on for the AEW tag titles, we have We Hurt People. The new acquisition, we have MJF now in the Hurt Syndicate, but he's not in this match. Might still have his fingerprints all over it, though. The Hurt Syndicate taking on the Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. Good to see Sammy back again on an AEW card, but not going to be getting the win here. Obviously, the Hurt Syndicate across the board here on the BKW side.
Diamond ring.
The Dustin's head, or that could be it. What's up? What
I would just like to say that MJF joining the Hurt Syndicate is the exact same thing as Sami Zayn joining the Bloodline, but you don't want to point that out.
Bloodline?
The Bloodline.
I Said the bloodline. What are you talking about?
Mushmouth back there.
Yeah, but it's going to be different in the sense that
okay,
probably
this one's different.
MJF is going to go ahead and probably take over, or try to uplift or change the Hurt Syndicate.
Definitely not a copy.
I know, obviously you can't stop hating for 5 seconds because you don't have an original thought in your entire body because you rely on the internet for all your thoughts and points.
Well, that's what I texted him out of nowhere.
But until then, like I said, until you get an original thought, then that's when I
texted him out of nowhere.
Here's what I would say. I still like them to add one more person.
I think it's still on the horizon. Still,
Ced needs to show up.
Cedric Alexander's working around the indie scene right now. So.
Ced needs to show, and that might be the point in which either, like the moment Cedric shows up and they start showing love to Cedric instead of MJF, things go sideways.
That could be the case.
Listen. It is what it is.
I did like how our MVP was kind of like giving that same heel tone on Dynamite when MJF was signing the contract. That was kind of interesting. Like, yeah, he's bashing the crowd. MVP starts bashing the crowd. Shelton's like, "What are you doing, man?" type deal. So it would be interesting to see how that kind of unfolds and plays out.
To me, I'm not the biggest Bobby Lashley fan.
Really?
No.
Just overall presentation,
the presentation's great.
Okay.
I want to see him go longer than 10 minutes.
That's fair. And that could be a mixture of, obviously, it's
he did it in
team.
TNA.
Yeah, that's true.
He did it in TNA. He and Drew Gallo.
That was 10 years ago, though.
I get that. I understand that. But Shelton can go 30.
That's true. I mean, he's just a beast.
He's a freak of nature.
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature.
He's like an ab
no,
muscle.
I think. Well, see, we were talking. They could make the Hurt Syndicate like the next Nation of Domination. And I'm being very real when I say that. You bring in Keith Lee. You bring in AR Fox.
Yeah.
All these guys that have been underutilized. AR's just jobbing so hard because he was in the doghouse. He's been jobbing but looking good. So
he's a very good piece for AEW because not only he's a teacher, he's a trainer, so he has his own school, so it's very good that he sticks around with AEW. So I don't really see him getting a big, humongous push, but I think
I don't need him to get a push. But
I think there's that understanding that he's going to be around no matter what.
I mean, Callis family's growing and growing and growing. Why not have the Hurt Syndicate grow with some of these guys that aren't being used? And honest to God, I think Keith Lee's just waiting for his contract to run out.
Yeah, I'm sure. At this point, I mean, it's
his wife works for WWE.
Yeah,
he wants to go back
I don't really see a huge benefit from him coming back necessarily to AEW. It might be a bigger benefit to go to WWE, not exactly be with your wife, not be in a place where you're going to be more respected, but just
where you're an H guy and H is putting his guys over right now.
Yeah, there's that. I would just say probably at this point it is just going to, good change of pace. That would probably be better for him. Continuing on, these are probably the bigger four of the matches they're going to be having the entire time. So really want to hammer down on these. Let's go to the right into the big one. The Anarchy in the Arena. We're going to have the Death Riders and the Young Bucks taking on Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, and the Ops, as well as Willow Nightingale. So we're going to get Marina Shafir, Willow Nightingale.
I just want a huge spot from the women. I want a huge spot from the women.
They're jumping off the stage. They're jumping off the stage and going through at least 3 or 4 tables. That's
all I want.
That's going to happen.
I want to see non-smiling Willow Nightingale come out and just start wrecking shop.
And so over text, it was way harder to text it and like explain how this match kind of plays out for you. They're basically gonna
go all over.
They're gonna go all over the place. It'll end up panning out where like Moxley and Samoa Joe are like in the ring, the 2 Young Bucks, and then the other guys over there. So every set of people are gonna have a referee with them. So they're kind of going to do one where, like, they're going to camera spot's going to go to Willow Nightingale and Amira Shafir, and as soon as that ends, they'll cut to a different camera in a different location and go to the Young Bucks taking on.
Do you believe there will be any pre-taped?
Oh, the pre-tapes and the stuff in the back? Yeah, that's. I think that's how it usually ends up happening, anyways.
Just wondering.
Yeah, I mean that's how it was definitely at the one of the first stadium
I know they
stampedes.
did it a lot more. They did a lot more when COVID was.
Yeah, obviously. I think possibly the biggest surprise might be Gabe Kidd gets involved. How do they even things out?
Well, they're saying 7-on-7 now.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. No, Gabe Kidd is not in the poster. They have the 6 on that side, 6 on the AEW side, 6 on the Elite side. I don't think that Darby is coming back. I think Eddie Kingston's coming back.
He's rumored. Hook's rumored. I mean, you could throw Darby in there, but I don't know. Darby has a lot of depressurization to do.
Yeah. Literally coming down from Mount Everest, he still needs to whatever scientific, you gotta get rid of all.
There's a reason that climbing Everest is done in like 3 stages, so you can get your lungs used to the altitude as you go up.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. I mean, again, we'll get to that, but congrats on that one. Good stuff on him. Highest elevated kick flip in the history of the world.
Never be beaten.
No, there's no way. He's bringing a skateboard up to Mount Everest. Tony Hawk.
I mean, unless somebody does it in an airplane.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. A little Nitro Circus action. But yeah, I'm in the idea that Eddie Kingston returns.
That'd be awesome.
And
I'd be down.
There was a little inkling on his Instagram, I believe. He posted a picture of Gabe Kidd in the foreground and him in the background, kind of looking around. So, pretty good idea of what we might see in the Anarchy in the Arena. Continuing on, the Women's Owen Cup side of things, we got Mercedes Moné taking on Jamie Hayter. I think this will be another notch, and like I said, another solid Mercedes Moné matches. I think, like I said, there's been a far and few in between, but I think this will be another solid one with Jamie Hayter in this one. Asleep. Okie dokie.
Oh, yeah, no. Probably
be disrespectful, and that's all fine, but she's putting together some good matches. I don't care what anyone says.
I don't think this is a good partner for her.
No, you don't think so?
No. I don't.
Do clashing styles?
I've never been impressed by Jamie Hayter.
Fair.
Never been impressed. And
Again,
that's no bag on her. I think her style is that British strong style, and it takes a unique person to be able to do that with someone else.
Yeah.
It's a very odd. I mean, Pete Dunne doesn't have bangers with everybody. Tyler Bates doesn't have bangers with everybody because it's a unique style where you take a lot of punishment, but yet you give out a lot of punishment. And Mercedes hates taking punishment.
That's fair.
Hard punishment.
Yeah. I think that's fair to say. It'll be interesting to see if, like I said, if there's a Styles clash, not the traditional AJ Styles clash, but a Styles within the ring.
Where your
clashing.
dancing partner isn't what it needs to be. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it still has legs to it. We can see how it plays out. And exactly right. This is for the Owen Cup, and we'll see how that plays out. Still in the women's side of things, women's title, Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. How we feeling here? Are you in the same boat as Mina now, or I guess again Toni Storm across the board? But
until I see someone get as much momentum as her, Toni Storm.
Well, it's not even on the same wavelength. However, Mina is getting a lot of big pushes, a lot of good pops. So
look at her. Yeah, there's a reason.
Yeah, and
she's a fantastic wrestler.
Exactly right. She's having some fantastic matches. I mean, even like the fan favorite of having Julia Hart that's on Dynamite, still people were cheering for both. So it was good to see that when Mina went over.
Yeah.
So I like that.
With a wrestling move, she pinned Julia Hart.
Yeah, exactly right. Finally, what is panning out to be the main event here for the Owen Cup on the men's side of things. Hangman Adam Page taking on Will Ospreay. These two had a very passionate, heated discussion in the ring, a nice promo on Dynamite to open things up. They kind of laid it all on the line. I was down the middle. I think it took a little.
We're both down the middle.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Scotty and Frankie couldn't even come up with one. I mean, it's as even could be. I feel like both could maybe take a loss. Both need a win. But Hangman might be the one that goes over here.
Here's my argument. It's all in.
Mm-hmm.
That this is for.
Yeah.
Who's going to draw more money going up against Mox?
Ospreay.
That's why I picked Ospreay.
That's fair.
It has nothing to do with the storylines. I think both storylines work no matter who wins. I think both guys could main event no problem. But if you're thinking fiscally, Osprey's bringing in more buys
Probably, yeah.
against Mox.
Yeah. And again, it's good on AEW for selling the amount of tickets they already have, but not even having a match on the All In card yet. But this might be able to add some more ticket sales if they do Osprey and Moxley. However, I feel like they can't go wrong either which way.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna just throw this one out there.
Sure.
Time limit draw.
Oh wow. Okay.
60 minutes, right? The match is 60 minutes. Time limit draw. They both get to face Mox at All In.
Wow. That would be something.
Hadn't even creeped into my mind until this exact moment.
That would be something nuts. That would be something crazy. And to ask them to go 60 on what's already going to be a really long stacked card, I don't know if that's going to pan out.
You'll know if the card goes quick.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
If the card goes quick, you will know.
If Mark Briscoe's on a stretcher before 8:20, you'll know that it's good to go.
Right? Or they're going to do exactly what they've done every other year and say, F it, we'll go as long as we want to. People are going to watch because it's Osprey and Hangman.
Yeah, I mean, they'll probably, in my mind, like I said, with them going live at 7 Central, they'll probably go to 11. I mean, it's been what's going on, so they'll probably end up going to 11 or so. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's nice. Exactly. Yeah, them being in the desert in Arizona this time, so that's gonna be nice. But yeah, like everyone's been asking just who's getting this dub. I haven't been so torn or so split on a AEW decision probably since the conception of its existence. So this is.
I mean, Danielson Swerve was close for me.
That was close. I think in the back of my mind, I was just like, I know TK was never not going to have Danielson as an AEW champion.
Yeah.
So that was inevitable. But man, this is just so tough. I really, truly, and I'm not even still confident in Hangman. I could still see exactly that where they go Osprey.
Both storylines work.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's the perfect thing of it. So exactly right. So Double or Nothing shaping up to be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait personally. This is gonna be fun. This is their WrestleMania. It'll be the 6th year mark now of AEW. So good to go there. Made a lot of. Hopefully go back and watch some Double or Nothing over on the Max side of things. Some recaps there. Some great matches that have happened.
I wonder have they released any Double or Nothings?
Yeah, they have. And I think they're supposed to release some more notable pay-per-views and some more notable Dynamites coming up.
I need some Double or Nothings. I'll binge watch that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go home today and binge watch some Double or Nothing.
I feel like they posted the Dynamite. I could be wrong. The Dynamite where it was Sammy and Cody Rhodes for the TNT title on the ladder. I think that could be up there right now, but I don't know if I still have that saved from my DVR or if that's up on Max. I can't remember. Either way, still can't wait. However, if you're looking to purchase or watch AEW Double or Nothing on Triller, not going to be able to do that. A little bit of an issue with Triller, from my understanding. I'll pull up the article and so I can kind of actually clarify. So Dave Meltzer was discussing the issues with Triller. Yes, I know, Dave Meltzer. However, this is more or less just kind of an objective thing, not a subjective thing. Is telling us that Triller, formerly known as Fight TV, is basically going under. So they can't really they're going under. They don't have enough money. They need to basically get bought out in the North American side of things. So it's basically just not going to become an option for AEW.
I'll be very honest with you, that probably, AEW going to Amazon Prime probably is one of the big things that killed them.
You think so?
It might have been. Because that was one of the few places that you could go. Like Bleacher Report had it for a while, but they stopped doing it. So Triller was like the only place that you could, like app-wise, that you could go and watch it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know how it'll affect buys necessarily. I think it'll still put up similar numbers.
Everybody has Amazon Prime, so.
Everyone has Amazon Prime. Everyone also just has, everyone has a website they can stream stuff off of.
Yeah.
So they're going to find ways to get around not having Triller or, if it's like a Stream East or a, Crack Streams type deal. What's up?
If you think Triller TV is going to come back, they're currently selling at $1 a stock.
Yeah, I saw that. That was
so
also
if you think
another.
it's going to come back, maybe plop 100 onto it.
That was also something Meltzer made mention of. He's like, yeah, stock is worth less than $1 in some cases.
I'm good.
So yeah, not looking all too good. They start using phrases like the 10Q filing and stuff like that, and start getting into the SEC, not the sports SEC, but the financial SEC. That's when my head starts hurting. And I kind of stop reading the article.
I will say this: if you have a VPN, they're offering for international viewers only an entire catalog of the entire AEW, Dynamite, Collision, pay-per-views, and I think it's only like $15 for everything.
It's not too shabby.
So if you got a VPN, there you go.
There you go. Well, look, carrying on, like I said, hopefully you're able to watch Double or Nothing in any which way that that you usually get to it. But we kind of made mention to this earlier. Darby Allin, who, yeah, Mount Everest is all elite. Darby Allin might not be able to come to Double or Nothing for the whole decompression type deal, getting used to being on regular old land. But yeah, Darby Allin officially made it to the top of Mount Everest. A huge feat. I know exactly. We were kind of poo-pooing it when it first happened. Like, why are you even doing this? But to actually, come back alive, that's cool. So congrats, Darby.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
That picture right there is the nicest picture I've ever seen of anybody who has ever summited Everest.
Yeah, okay.
Usually they're all like wrapped up and garbled up because it's so cold there. There's snow everywhere.
I think they hit it at summertime for Mount Everest.
You go up that high, it don't matter, baby.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It don't matter.
Well, you're closer to the sun, wouldn't it be? It's just science. Oh,
I'm just saying, like, the weather, there were multiple pictures where I was looking going, boy, the weather super cooperated with them.
And all we really have to say is now, exactly right, come back down so we can see the damn title. That's all we got to see. That's all we got to do. So I'm thinking Darby probably by at least All In is going to make the big return and be like, here's the savior. He's coming back to get it back from Moxley. So congrats,
Darby. You still think
Darby.
that's the only person that Mox is going to drop it to?
Well, again, I think Mox could drop it to Eddie Kingston. That same idea where, kind of Eddie Kingston is our bum lord or whatever. I forgot, the king of the bums.
I think he might drop it at All In.
Yeah?
I think he might.
Or All Out or
All
which
In.
one? Okay, All In. So the Texas show. Mm-hmm. All right, yeah.
Screw All Out.
Yeah, screw All Out because it's up in Canada now. No more All Out in Chicago. All Out going up to Canada September 20th. First time they're not having All Out in Chicago. I am disappointed beyond all belief. However, again, I can see where, Kenny Omega.
Let me guess,
coming into
Manitoba?
play, Josh Alexander. No, they're in Toronto. They're the Scotiabank Arena. What? I think they're just kind of. Obviously, with the Chicago market is fine. They're gonna have 6 shows at the Aragon. They know their bread is buttered there.
I get. Maybe that was the compensation.
Could have been.
That might have been the compensation for them going, we're not going to do All Out here.
Yeah, we're not going to do All Out here, but still going to have 6 or 3 weeks worth of shows here.
Have you looked to see how much a package costs?
So I already bought my ticket for the first show. It was $150 for the usual seat where I just spent $80. It was $150. Yikes. But again, it's smaller venue, more intimate. It's going to be less people.
They were selling like packages for all 6 events.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
I
know I can't do all 6 shows. I would try and at least get to maybe 3 of them. But right now, for sure, set in stone with the first one. So I'm excited for that. So yeah, again, disappointed. AEW All Out not going to be happening in Canada, but we'll see what happens. Finally, I just had a fun one for us here. 24 years ago, about a couple days ago, was the release of the first Shrek movie. If you remember, in Shrek, they had a little wrestling spot. Mm-hmm. The internet ran wild with this one, and a bunch of wrestlers and people of people of wrestling prowess were judging the spot that happened in the Shrek movie. So I don't know if you remember most of it. Did you want to critique maybe some of it?
No.
Because some of it, you know, a lot of people were. You know, he's basically brought out the shovel, Barry job. I mean, Scotty had a good point. It's just constant finishers left and right. He's a spot fest. Spot fest, constantly burying young talent was Shrek.
Outside interference.
But he barely got the tag in. It's almost like yeah. So, I just loved exactly that. That was, you know, while the wrestling internet community is obviously, you know, usually just awful. This was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun for people to have fun with. So
too much damn time.
That's true. Very, very true. So 24 years ago.
Get a hobby.
This is our hobby, wrestling. Shrek Hogan. Hollywood Shrek.
Hogan wouldn't go over.
That's true. He would look at Shrek and be like, "Oh, sorry, no, that's gonna be too much for." He'd be like, "That'd be the same thing as like Undertaker's." Like, "No, that's gonna too much for me."
Taker would end the streak with Shrek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think so?
I think there's enough buzz around that green dude.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, one really quick comment. I didn't watch the whole thing, but Ken Anderson was on Chris Van Vliet. He made comment. Said he want to come back. But also, I thought it was really cool. He made mention to like the Undertaker working with the Undertaker. He said he never made contact with him. He was
softest dude he's ever worked with.
Yeah, because he was asking about the chair shot that wrapped around his head. And
I love the explanation
and he goes,
too.
"That was fine. Like that was easy.
All you do is take your hands off of both legs. You just hold one leg.
Yeah,
simple."
Exactly.
I was like, "Holy crap!"
One of those things where
think about it
again, where I think even like Simon Gotch came in and like explained like there's like certain spots that look brutal, but are actually, you know, when done right, are the safest things on the planet. So this is one of those things where
like just to know that he threw Kennedy into the corner and just lambasted him with punches, and Kennedy's like, "He never touched me."
Even touched me. Great. It was great. So good. I mean, I'll have to check out the full interview, but that would be
once
fine.
Again showing you why Taker is probably the greatest of all time.
Yeah, definitely.
He's definitely the greatest big man of all time.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably undeniable at this point.
But
well, there you have it.
LFG champion. LFG champion. Oldest man in WWE to win a title.
LFG champion. Is he? What, did they probably name the best coach on there? Yeah. We'll see.
And they gave him a belt.
Oh, how cute. Well, there you go.
Well,
folks.
that ends Mickey James's career in LFG.
That's true. That is essentially over with. In comes Michelle McCool. Well, speaking of onto that, we can go and talk a little.
Your husband's secretary on SmackDown.
We can go and talk some WWE when we return here.
Corporate assistant, Mickey James.
Oh, gee whiz. Well, we're gonna go ahead and just like I said, preview Double or Nothing, but we're also gonna go ahead and preview Saturday night's main event here on BKW when we return. So stick around.
Hey, watch your mouth. Wine. I'll just put a quarter in the swear jar. Once it's filled, we get a Coors party after work. I've been drinking Coors since my college days. The cold draft taste is second to none. Yeah, worth the recorder, am I right? You know it, mother. Hey,
You get those reports done?
yeah. No. You, sir. Attention, employees.
The staff meeting, scheduled for this evening, will now be held tomorrow early as
That is all. Dudes, we're only 75 cents short. Oh, shh. There's the boss. Hey, sir, go yourself. You're fired! Yeah! Oh, I still get beer.
The Chicagoland area has a large number of lonely dogs currently filling shelter pens, just waiting to find a family. Nothing adds warmth to a home like a wagging tail and a warm pair of brown eyes. If you are considering adding a dog to your household, visit the Anderson Animal Shelter, where adoption counselors can assist you in selecting your new best friend. Make your house a home. Adopt a shelter dog. To see a current list of adoptees, visit their website at www.andersonanimalshelter.org or meet them in person at 1000 South LaFox Street in South Elgin. Don't have room in the home for a new furry family member? Donations of toys, collars, and soft or hard non-perishable dog food are always accepted and are greatly appreciated. All animals are spayed or neutered and are waiting with tails wagging to find a loving home. Visit 1000 South LaFox Street in South Elgin or www.andersonanimalshelter.org for more details.
This is Bad Karma Wrestling
Give me a hell yeah.
with No Gimmick Nick Johnston
It doesn't matter how you feel.
and David Double D Dykstra.
And welcome back to BK Dub in the building, ready to talk some Saturday night's main event, because we just talked a little bit of AEW Double or Nothing and everything else in between. So let's go ahead and attack it. Let's attack. So far, right now, 4 matches announced for Saturday night's main event. We have the Steel Cage, we have the Tag Team, the non-title match, and the World Heavyweight title match. So let's hit it from top to bottom. We got the Steel Cage match here, Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. Glad to see Drew is all set, ready to roll from his from the head injury. Glad that wasn't a lingering thing. But here we go, battling out in a Steel Cage. Is this due for a Steel Cage? Is this feud been a blood feud enough to hit Steel Cage stature?
I mean, they took it up to the next that next level with the street fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, to end the feud, Steel Cage, I'm good with it as long as McIntyre goes over.
Yes, that, and as long as exactly right. Maybe this is hopefully the end of that. Not that it's been a horrible feud necessarily.
Although,
it's just we need to see the next big thing for Drew. He needs a world title shot. He needs a championship.
Although everything that I'm hearing from backstage in WWE, Priest is being absolutely just revealed.
Oh yeah.
Like, they love the work that he's doing.
And he's
with
done,
Drew.
and it's good because he's done nothing wrong. He's been done everything they've asked him to do. He's done right or better than expected.
Yeah,
and he's a good advocate too. He's able to talk. He's he's a big fan of Slayer, so he went ahead and introduced them at their show in California. So he's a good mouthpiece. He's a very good public figure for WWE. So good on them for exactly right being able to put him out there like that.
I agree.
Steel Cage match looking good. Next up, we have the not the tag titles, but the tag match. CM Punk and Sami Zayn taking on Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I mean, it'll be good for Punky. Doesn't have to go a full 20 minutes as a tag team match, so he probably won't get hurt. But either way, continuing on the storyline, probably Rollins and Breaker go over on this one. Keep it down over there. The people with the microphones are talking. The people with the microphone, I'm not even joking. People with the microphones are talking. So let it be known, like I said. Probably Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker going over it. But there you go. What do we got? Anything?
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Are you going to really kill the momentum that Seth has?
No need to. I mean, if his next step is world heavyweight stature or going for the title, then you can't really.
Setting it up for SummerSlam more than likely.
And then again, this was all. I mean, I'll get to the potential surprises, but we have one lingering in there. For the non-title, John Cena, or excuse me, R-Truth taking on his childhood hero, John Cena. It could be interesting. I'm leaning towards it's going to be gimmicky as all hell. Steve Ahrendt, who I did the interview with last night, he actually made a solid point of they're doing everything exactly what they said they do. They are trying to ruin wrestling with this, in the sense that he's messing. They're surely screwing with people with this.
He'll give R-Truth a match and have one more appearance ticked off.
Exactly right. It's exactly right. It's where we're seeing, like I said, the waste of it with one less appearance. Now we get it's not even for the title.
Yeah,
not even for the title. So again, it kind of sets up for a lot of different ways for people who have been kind of panning this out. So I don't want to spoil that too much. Like I said, I think we have some potential surprises that have get in there.
With it being non-title, though, let's get into that in a little bit.
Yeah. Finally, World Heavyweight title, Jey Uso taking on Logan Paul.
Why?
Well, I'm glad that they're just kind of getting to this right away. We're not waiting for a whole pay-per-view. We have to sit on this for another 4 weeks. But yeah, exactly right. Why is the best question? I think we'll just yeet is probably going to be the answer. What do we got, Scotty?
There are no titles changing hands.
No, not at all. Go ahead.
You want to know why? It's because everyone hates, other than the people in the arena, everyone hates Jey Uso being the World Heavyweight Champion. You want to know who you put up against him? Someone they hate a lot more than Jey Uso as champion and Logan Paul.
You mean the trolls on the internet don't like Jey Uso being the champion?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like Logan Paul way more than they don't.
Let me be very real with you. For all those people that want to poo-poo all over Jey Uso, you morons. He is the hottest babyface in the company. Who do they put titles on when it comes to babyfaces? The hottest babyface. He's more popular than Cody right now. He's more popular than, I'd say, almost anybody. I think there is one that's creeping up on him, though.
Carrion.
Carrion's killing it right now, and I
Yeah.
love every moment of it. And let me... Karrion Kross interferes.
In all honesty, that's what we can just get right into the potential surprises across the board. I don't hate that for Karrion getting involved or making his presence known, whether it's maybe just as simple as he shows up, puts the hourglass on top, or maybe it's not even her. Maybe it's not even him. Maybe it's Scarlett. Maybe Scarlett just shows up and puts
Goes black.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you think it's maybe maybe it's Aleister Black. Nope. Scarlett Boudreaux shows up, puts the hourglass right up on the apron, and walks away.
I know it'll never happen, but what I would love to see is just a smash match between Logan Paul and Karrion Kross.
Oh, Karrion squashes him, or
Just completely squashes him.
I don't think I don't know if they would do that to Logan.
Yeah, they'll never do it to Logan. No. But if you want to get Karrion Kross over against a non-wrestler, quote unquote, have him go in there and just squash.
Yeah. And we see that exactly right. That could be our potential surprise there in the World Heavyweight title match. But I've seen a whole sorts of rumors circulating with, potentially Cody Rhodes returning, getting involved with the John Cena match. And because this is non-title,
there is a possibility
R-Truth gets the win.
I know. There is a huge possibility that R-Truth wins this match.
Oh, what is going on?
Actually, though, it would be the best way for it to happen.
That would be the only way to actually justify it.
Oh,
yes.
it can't. If R-Truth wins, it can't be clean.
Oh, no.
It can't be clean.
No, you think R-Truth is putting the 5-knuckle shuffle on John Cena going over clean? No way.
You know what I could see?
What's that?
Cody hits him with his belt or something.
The weight belt, yeah.
Or his watch.
Okay.
His dad's watch. Yeah. Cena hit him with, and then R-Truth hits Cena with the attitude adjustment and pins him.
And the pop that would get from R-Truth getting one over would be exponential.
Now that it's non-title, all things are off.
Oh yeah,
the board.
exactly. The results are endless.
It's a smart move by Triple H.
It is.
Creatively.
Yes.
It's a very smart move.
Because again, exactly with the idea of the title being on the line, we're like, okay, obviously Cena's not losing it to R-Truth.
And then you can build that story to whether it's SummerSlam or the next Money in the Bank, whatever it may be.
We'll see how that goes. And then the other kind of potential surprise. Oh, sorry, what do we got?
Someone said R-Truth should come out to John Cena's music and in John Cena attire. Give him all the wristbands, give him the shirt, give him the jorts, give him the whole entrance with all the colors.
Now this is your journey as the 17th time World Heavyweight Champion there, R-Truth. Great idea. And then the other final potential surprise I see is some people lurking around with maybe the third member of Rollins and Braun Breaker is revealed, if there is one.
Yeah, I've heard nothing, any kind of rumors about a third member at all. If there is, it better by God be Austin Theory.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. And we see slowly Austin Theory breaking away from Grayson Waller.
That match on Raw was hilarious.
Sheamus and Waller having a match, and Austin Theory just being completely disconnected from it.
Laughing as Waller's getting his chest caved in.
There was an online thing with a fan interacting. He said something, and then he goes like, "I guess they teach that over in Australia, mate. Like how to be bad." And then got a big pop from the crowd. So yeah, it's clear as day that Grayson Waller and Austin Theory are no longer going to be a thing for rightfully so. So maybe that's the third member if there is one. I wouldn't say it murkies the water, but having JC Mateo, Jeff Cobb just get introduced to a new faction might. It's not like the same thing, but it's kind of like too close. Maybe they would wait a little bit, but either way, I don't think it's a huge issue.
All I need is Cobb and freaking Fatu at SummerSlam.
You're not getting Cobb. You're getting JC Mateo as the new. Hello, my new name is JC Mateo. Went over on LA Knight on his first match. Is this new Jeff Cobb name is a distraction, or does it actually better fit the storyline?
It better fits the storyline if he's doing a new bloodline or a young bloodline.
Yeah.
By the way, the Colossal Slam, everybody gasped like they'd never seen anything like that before in their lives. I mean, he's only been doing it for, 10 years now?
Yeah, something like that. That's when he does his little, charged up body slam, basically.
The Colossus Slam or something.
Almost like a torpedo or like a tidal wave type deal.
Tornado Slam.
Yeah. So, again, for anyone that's kind of like, oh, JC Mateo, what? That's so dumb. When you go through the name test of like Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu with Jeff Cobb, probably some white accountant. Like who's Jeff Cobb?
That might be his actual last name.
I think it actually is. But actually, having the JC Mateo, like I said, at first I was like,
let him wear his ring gear, too.
Yeah.
For the love of all, do not have him wrestle in jeans and a freaking tank top.
Yeah, no need for that. Yeah, get him back into his gear.
Let him show his Rhino-esque body.
Yeah, get his singlet going. Come on, let's go. Let's not play games. But like I said, hopefully, like I said, I don't think it no longer really. I don't think it's a distraction. I think it actually does make sense. JC Mateo, change it up, and that also does make sense. Why I made the point of when he debuted, they only said his name like once or twice. Like that's Jeff Cobb. Oh my God, it's Jeff Cobb, and that's it. He didn't really hammer it home like, oh, here comes Cobby. They didn't do anything like that. So I think it was kind of set in stone that he was going to get a name change. So there we go. Like I said, that's fine and dandy there. But carrying on, unfortunate news here. Knee injury, going to be sidelining Zoe Stark for probably from the reports the remainder
Thank you
of the
for
year.
not putting the still of the actual injury up.
Yes, get on that one, guys. So Zoe Stark, if you didn't see during the triple threat on Raw to get into the Money in the Bank ladder match, correct? Between her, Rhea Ripley and Kairi Sane. Just returning Kairi Sane. Obviously returning Kairi Sane, that means come here comes the shovel for Rhea Ripley. I know.
Don't give me that.
I know. It was changed. It was probably
it was on the fly.
Yes,
they
obviously
had to change it on the fly.
Yes, obviously
Kairi was supposed to pin Zoe.
Yes. Called an audible in the ring. I think, like I said, it just
because you can't have
bad optic when you go back-to-back weeks when Rhea Ripley was, again burying people when she really wasn't. And she is the most popular women's wrestler now. It's
nobody else gets a pop.
Yeah, exactly.
No other female gets a pop.
Or if they do, they don't get it to the same stature as Rhea Ripley. So
Tiffy might be the closest.
Maybe.
Io
gets good pop.
Io's gaining steam. Yeah, I have noticed that.
Io gets a good pop. But regardless, this sparked an online debate, obviously within the wrestling community of was this a safe move? Was this a good idea? Don't do stuff you don't usually do type deal.
So he does top rope drop kicks all the damn time.
Yes.
Kairi Sane was in the wrong spot. Zoe decided to still try and do it because of her athleticism. It didn't work. There is blame on both sides. Yeah. When you see the girl not in the proper spot, probably don't try and do the move. But at the same time, you have to be in the right spot. This is about safety.
And that's simply just our analysis when we were talking about it. We think both that Zoe Stark was making the attempt, probably exactly right.
Shouldn't have.
Made the attempt, shouldn't have. Zayn was out of position, and Zoe Stark was just like, screw it, I'm a good enough athlete to maybe make that jump, and just came up a little short. So very unfortunate. Again, if we're blame pie, I mean, it's not really blame, it's just an unfortunate accident that happens. Yeah, exactly right.
Shame.
Yeah, but again, the outrage of some people were like, this is ridiculous. Learn a hold, why don't you? Like, bro, really? It was one time, and again, like you just mentioned, Zoe does this.
Zoe Starks is one of the most, if not the most athletic woman on that roster.
That could definitely make a case for that, I would think. Yeah, exactly. Get well soon, Zoe. Again, very unfortunate. Again, from the reports are, don't really have her planned for the remainder of the year, if not probably a whole calendar year. I would think.
The way that knee bent, I think she blew it all out.
That's definitely true. Yeah, that was horrific. But finally, here on the WWE side of things, WrestleMania 42 no longer going to be in New Orleans, and this was like I said, for some like myself, I kind of just like chalk it up to almost who cares. But you're on the side of this is you don't like this. What's going on? What's the game plan?
This is corporate.
Oh, okay.
This is WWE. Not to say WWE isn't corporate anyway, but this is like TKO putting their fingerprint on stuff like this, going, oh, Vegas is going to give us how much? All right, sorry, New Orleans, you won the bid, but you lost the bid.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and to me, it's very much it has to be a lot like the NFL in my eyes, where when they announce whoever's got the Super Bowl the next year, stick with it. I'm sorry. You need to stick with it because now New Orleans is losing out on millions and millions and millions of dollars of revenue. I would even
say billions.
I would put it in
a billion.
I would put it in the higher millions, but because, of course, they have to pay for extra stuff as well. But that being said,
but I mean, it brings in a whole thing. It brings in the indie community. It brings in a ton of other extra stuff. They would be missing out on, again, maybe the idea of another roast of WrestleMania type deal. Like all those extra side shows.
They're never doing roast of WrestleMania.
I don't think so again.
Ever again.
Those extra shows that they get, they're missing out on that revenue.
And I'm going to be very blunt about this. If this turns into WrestleMania Saudi Arabia,
I won't be watching.
I'm going to have an issue.
I will straight up not watch it.
There are way better venues that you need to hit before ever thinking about Saudi.
Oh yeah, and just for moral reasons, I would never watch it.
Wembley.
Never happening.
Wembley needs to be that next. And then you go into Wembley and you break AEW's Wembley record.
Well, they say they probably can. They'll say they will, no, regardless.
But that's what I'm saying is like, listen, if you're gonna do London, to me would be the perfect venue if you're gonna go away from it. I know Vegas is.
I'm still not a fan because I don't like the time change. I would hate to wake up for a WrestleMania at 1:00 in the afternoon. It's not. I don't know.
Bitching about getting up at 1:00 in the afternoon.
Well, I would already be up, obviously.
Yeah,
but it's still like having Mania be done by like 7 p.m. That'd be annoying. It'd be dumb.
I wouldn't have to stay up late. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I guess it's just like that's the whole thing. That's the whole part of it.
Like I'm saying, it sounds like it's going to be Vegas. This reeks of a money grab, and it stinks to me.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, I mean, they're still getting their planned Money in the Bank that they were going to have for 2026, but
that's not bringing in money like Mania does.
No, definitely not. Even with money in the name of it, it's not going to do enough.
They did say that New Orleans will get a WrestleMania in the future. They're kind of just changing the years, and then as compensation, they'll get Money in the Bank.
Once again, you realize as soon as it got announced, like, people started planning for
that too. That kind of does put a big damper on anyone that maybe like took the
booked rooms already.
Yeah.
I mean, you're far enough out that the cancellation fee probably isn't too bad.
But even then, it's still paying. Like, I shouldn't have to pay. Like, this was promised like it was going to be set there, but
it's also
it's wrestling. Subject card always subject to change.
Subject to change.
Always.
Location subject to change.
Yeah.
It's also funny because that's
We're gonna
another
go from
thing.
the Waldorf.
That's another thing that the Rock has shown up in WWE and still just has led to nothing with him showing up in New Orleans, announcing WrestleMania,
It was
and it not happening.
It was Backlash. Did you ever hear why The Rock didn't show up at Backlash?
Well, he said that that was it. That he was done after Elimination Chamber. That was the end of that storyline.
There wasn't enough people to show up. Or no, was it Mania? It was Mania that he did. Yeah. There wasn't enough people for him to show up.
Okay, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I don't buy that at all. And funny enough, we'll get to the interview with our guy Steve Aaron in just a little bit. And I asked him, "What's your biggest CSW guest?" He mentioned The Rock, which I said if he were to show up at CSW and not WrestleMania, the world would have burned to the ground. Right. But regardless, that would be the goal there. And obviously a big thing there.
The apocalypse happens. TKO fires him from the board of directors.
Obviously, like you said, we're inkling the idea of WrestleMania happening again in Las Vegas. Keep your fingers crossed for Arlington Heights. Maybe the Bears actually get that.
It should be one of the biggest reasons why they build an 80,000 seat stadium in Arlington Heights.
God, do I hope so. Finally, just Raw results, SmackDown, NXT. I know we got Battleground coming up. Anything you want to tackle there? We got 6 matches in Battleground. Anything to get to?
There are whispers that Trick Williams might win the TNA title. And I know you have thoughts on that because you feel TNA is
the stupidest thing on the planet. Let me have just this.
I think here's one for you.
Joe Hendry would be the biggest beta male World Heavyweight Championship if he lost it to an NXT guy. This would be so crazy.
I'll be very honest with you.
To already sit there and try to justify, it was okay that I lost to Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I'm just the world champion. Yeah, go ahead, lose to Trick Williams in the middle of the card on Battleground. Go ahead, dude.
Here's my surprise. I think Oba's dropping the title.
Oba drops it so he can go up?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think Oba's dropping the title.
That could be a good case, and honestly, Miles Bourne isn't the worst to put the title on. Miles Bourne's not the worst. Yeah.
Getting a lot of comparisons to Randy.
A lot of visual representation.
Well, not just visual, just the way he works as well.
Okay, gotcha.
A lot of Randy comparisons.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, I guess so.
Javon is not Randy.
Randy went to go work with him.
Javon is nowhere near Randy. I would call Javon. No. I think he's going to be better than Ricochet. I think he's going to be more technical than Ricochet. He could be the next AJ.
I'm just trying to... I'm like...
Oh, my God.
I'm just looking.
Frankie,
where's...
Don't ever open up your mouth again. Jimmy Snuka, shut up.
The murderer?
Yeah, he's also a murderer.
I'm just wondering where's the shiny new toy? Where's Ricky Saints? Where's Ricky Starks? Is he over on Rampage? Still battling out with Ethan Page?
They're rolling it back.
Oh yeah?
Starks versus Page.
Is it? I don't see it on
It's
the card.
on there.
Oh, it's on there? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see
It'll
right
probably
now,
open the show.
I just see Oba, Miles Bourne, I see Stephanie and Jordan Grace.
Are they?
Because I see the 6 card.
They canceled next week's show.
Yeah. Not enough ticket sales there. Yeah, I don't think it was their fault.
Well,
maybe just a lack of talent.
No. Here's the problem. They're popping prices so hard that it's for families who want to go and enjoy it. It's
unaffordable.
It's unaffordable.
It's going to get there.
You have to have that conversation. When is enough enough? And
that's the thing too. That could be a whole episode.
We joked about going to Vegas.
Yeah.
And then we saw the ticket prices for Upper Bowl, and we were like, Screw you! I'm
And
not
if they're going to run
that.
it back-to-back in Vegas, they're going to want to break the records they broke in Vegas, which means only the ticket sales are going to keep going up and up and up. And that's going to be the thing. We're going to keep saying, oh, they broke this gate, they did this. It's not going to be like, record-breaking. It's going to be for the amount of money that everyone spend. Yeah. And there's going to be a point in time where someone's just going to say, you know what, enough's enough. I'm not going to this. So this boom in wrestling might come to an end because of TKO's just selfishness and greed.
And that's why I say TKO is the problem, because it's not just the WWE. The UFC is getting terrible because
it is. They're putting out awful cards.
Listen, no, not even that. That's not TKO.
Fair.
That's Dana not doing his job.
That's fair.
Dana's worried about boxing right now, which is annoying. But here's the problem. TKO for New Orleans put Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway as the trilogy fight there. Dustin Poirier's retirement fight. Nosebleeds are $800
Jesus Christ.
for a UFC fight.
That's ridiculous.
And I want to go to UFC 319 in Chicago. If that's the price, I'm not going.
No, not happening. It's going to be at the United Center too, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, there you need to like be at the 100 level to actually see anything. At the 300 level, you're just basically looking at the screen. You basically just.
And I'm okay with that.
I guess
for certain events.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't like paying to see a giant TV. I could just sit at home. I don't know. That's just me. But if we're carrying on, all set there, all fine and dandy.
Yeah. Let's get to the interview.
All right, cool. Exactly that. So no need to go to a commercial. Let's just go right into it, guys. So a very special guest, a very special treat here. Like I said, rambled on and ended up talking to him just because when you talk in wrestling, you just lose track of time here. So joining me in this interview last night, it was Steve Ahrendt, the GM, the general manager of Chicago Style Wrestling, as well as the voice, the commentator for Chicago Style Wrestling. We get into a brief, general, just who he is, talk about Chicago Style Wrestling, as well as a couple of big names that have gone through CSW. So I want to get his point of view there. So go ahead. This is going to be my interview with Steve Ahrendt, again, of Chicago Style Wrestling. Thank you again, guys, for joining in. Make sure you watch the whole interview, and we're going to be posting it later on today. So go ahead. Take care. Alrighty, guys, joining me today, Bad Karma Wrestling in the building, Nick Johnston, and joining me today, very special guest. This is the GM and also the voice, the sound of CSW, the commentator. It's Steve Ahrendt joining me today. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, glad to be here. Bad Karma Wrestling. That's an interesting title for a show. You've got, on one side, you've got Jonathan Hood of ESPN 1000 with Good Karma, and you are the flip side at Bad Karma. And don't think that I don't know there's not an Illinois media school tie in there, because Hoodie was my instructor there once upon many years ago.
Very, very good eye on that one. Very good eye. Actually, probably the first one to catch up on that.
Smarter than the average GM I am.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So absolute pleasure to have you here. I just want to say thank you for joining me today. Obviously, I've been going to CSW shows since, mid 2019, kind of late that era. So like I said, I love enjoying the work. I've been watching you guys for some time now.
What a coincidence, because that's when I started at CSW in 2019. I was just a mild-mannered manager of a couple of the talents that were running around CSW back at Bishop Guerin at the time. We also did a few at Edison Park. And then right before pandemic hit, they made me general manager over Marco Anthony. And quite frankly, it's been a much better promotion since I've been there. That's for sure. If I do say so myself.
If you don't say so yourself.
Got to watch that vanity in my role, man. Pride and ego will kill you.
Well, funny enough, it was right around the pandemic time, I believe. Kill Switch, Luchasaurus, now known as Kill Switch, was one of the last shows to perform, and then I was very excited myself as a fan because I was right before the pandemic. Rhino was supposed to perform, and he was just there not too long ago, actually.
That's right. That was our last show, actually, before the pandemic. Was the March show with Rhino, and I remember it well because Rhino was fighting the Ryan Matthews, and Ryan Matthews came out with hand sanitizer in his shorts, so it looked like he was far more well endowed than he was. It was actually hand sanitizer. So, ladies, I'm just saying, It isn't always the package. Sometimes it's the hand sanitizer.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, like I said, I kind of gave you a little bit of a general idea of who you are. You're the GM of CSW. You are a commentator as well. But kind of, I just want to pass it on to you. What are your current roles in wrestling? How'd you get involved and everything
Well,
in between?
you know what? It's a funny story, and you'll appreciate it because of how it started. Back at the good old Illinois Media School, back in my day, it was called the Illinois Center for Broadcasting. I went to school there to be the next great afternoon ESPN or Score drive guy. I wanted the 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock slot. I wanted to take people home with my edgy sports opinions, et cetera, et cetera. Well, as we found out at the Illinois Media School, getting a gig like that is a very difficult thing because sometimes you have to start many, many miles away from home in very small markets. And I started doing this at age 43. So I went through a midlife crisis that took me back to school. So here I was thinking about relocating to Bismarck and Fargo, North Dakota, and some of the places that solicited me as a radio personality. And I'm like, I have 2 kids, a wife, and a job that I work 60 hours a week at. It's going to be a little difficult to drop that and then go to Bismarck. And I don't think I'd want to go to Bismarck anymore. I'm not even sure where Bismarck is, but that's neither here nor there. So we're doing the school thing. And after you get out of the school, they still let you come back and use the equipment and do certain things. You have radio shows on the station and such. So I did radio shows on the station for a few years afterwards. And our program director, Pete Ferrari at the time, Dr. Pete, as we knew him then, said, hey, I got an opening this Saturday night to do wrestling commentary. You like wrestling, right, Steve? And I'm like, well, yeah, I've watched wrestling for many years. I like it. I think I could do it. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm much more suited to call football or baseball or basketball. Never really thought about doing wrestling, but I probably could do it. I mean, I watched Jim Ross do it. So I went to a company in Midlothian called PCW, Pro Championship Wrestling. This is 2014. I had been at broadcasting school for like 8 months at the time. So this is my first live gig, and I'm like, okay, how hard can it be? Jim Ross makes it look easy. So I basically, for 3 hours at a wrestling show, did knockoff Jim Ross impressions. Everything was the slobber knocker. Everything was, my God, he has a family. I'm even doing the Southern drawl. Somehow, the people liked it and said, we want him to come back. So, as we went forward a few shows, I started to get a little more comfortable. I started to understand the storylines a little bit. And then in December of that year, the company shut down. As you know, in independent wrestling, nothing is forever. So I'm like, okay, well, the company's dead. So am I. I'm never working again. The next year, a couple of the wrestlers from that promotion said, hey, we got a new promotion we're doing. Can you come do commentary for us? And I'm like, oh, man, I can't believe they're asking me to do this. I didn't think they liked me. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. So then I did a company called Crash Tested Wrestling. And that was some pretty cool stuff because I got to do commentary with Road Warrior Animal. I got to do commentary with Billy Gunn because they would come in as special guests and do things. So, I'm starting to get, comfortable in my own skin. It's a little hard to be comfortable when you're sitting next to someone like Animal of the Road Warriors, a legend. And obviously you see what Billy Gunn is still doing even on AEW today. So little intimidating, but I was able to handle it and I got better from it. Well, then CTW closes and I'm like, well, that's gotta be it. I've come to 2 companies and 2 companies have shut down. I'm a bad luck or born under a bad sign. So then a couple of the guys that worked at CTW had another promotion called Global Professional Wrestling. Hey, come on over. Let's see what we can do here. So it was there that I did some commentary, but I became general manager for the first time in a promotion. So that was my first stint as general manager. And that led to me doing some matches in the ring where I would put tights on, lace up the boots, and I got trained. Not very well, but it was to help the storyline. So I was the evil GM. I was Eric Bischoff. I was the evil bastard. I was Vince McMahon. I was out to get everybody. I made my own faction, and then I ended up dying at the end. And our last show, then the company closed again. So at that time, Steve Boz and TJ Steele, the Bro Bros, as you know at CSW very well, were working at GPW. They were our champions. So when GPW closed, I get a call from TJ Steele. Hey, we want to bring you out to CSW and see what you can do here. So I went to CSW and they made me GM right away. So from 2020 till very recently, I'd been GM at CSW, and then they made me commentator. And commentating, has been pretty cool because now I'm on IWTV. So, where commentary was kind of a sideline gig for a while, now it's first and foremost because now we're being viewed, hundreds of thousands of times on IWTV, and they're hearing my voice. So I'm speaking for the company. So it's a lot of responsibility, but that's kind of how my origin story happened. I got lucky. I got put in places accidentally, and like a bad penny, I just kept showing up.
Sometimes how it is.
And
sometimes it is just right place, right time. Even though even though you got some doors closing, other doors are opening. Just opportunities constantly. So it's really an awesome story to hear. Honestly,
you just have to be willing to be a part of something and try it out. It's not always going to work out. I've been to places that didn't work out for me. I'm doing ring announcing a little bit now, so I'm trying to become that Swiss Army knife and be able to do a little bit of everything, because the more things you can do, the more companies can use you.
Yeah, no, I honestly try to pry that in the same thing with my work too. So yeah, try to be exactly that Swiss Army man. Try to be an everything guy.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, do you find it more fun being a GM, or you find it maybe more fun being a commentator over on the CSW side, or a little bit of both?
Wow, that's a great question. I love being GM. It's fun to be a character in a wrestling show, to be a character in a wrestling company. And I if you would have asked me a few years ago, I would have said GM, absolutely. But commentary has kind of taken a strange turn in the land of wrestling. It's become very important. It was never really regarded as very much. I mean, it was good. If you had good commentary, people would watch it. But now you have all these streaming services, and you have places like WWE and AEW watching everything, WWE ID, all that stuff. So if you're going to have a promotion, you're going to want them to have solid commentary, because if the commentary sucks, it will you're not going to put over your talent, right? So, if I didn't think before that commentary was important as being a general manager, because I like being a character. Now I've kind of laid into, being a commentator, because, you're certainly much more visible. Some people like you, some people don't, but that's great. People are having an opinion about you, and that's a good thing. So I think commentary I'm enjoying more than I ever have right now. But I still love getting out there and doing GM things. I had my last in-ring match, because I'm an old man now, and it took me 2.5 weeks to recover from the last ass whipping I had. So I've decided that getting hit with steel chairs is a thing of the past for me. So at Rocket Pro in May, that was my last ever in-ring, and Shaq Jordan beat the absolute Christ right out of me. Boy, it was bad. bad.
No, that's not good to hear. But I'm glad to hear that. You're exactly right. I mean, you're being the commentator. You're the mouthpiece. You are the narrator. You're the narrator. You're setting up the story. Exactly right. Putting over the talent, one of the most important things. Obviously, right. But yeah, like I said, you kind of mentioned it, at least in the commentary side of things. Like, I was going to ask, maybe, like, what are your more inspirations on the GM side of things, and what were your inspirations on the commentary side of things? You said a little bit JR on the commentary. Do you see, like, maybe a Teddy Long side on the GM side? How do you feel?
Teddy Long, my partner on my podcast, The Power Hour, C-Red, absolutely hates Teddy Long. So that's funny that you mentioned that. There's a great story there. You should have C-Red on your show at some point.
You
want to talk about a man with stories?
That'd be great.
I'll tell him you're looking for him, because he is one of my good friends in this business. He has been around a long time. He was the original manager and member of a group called the Soul Touchers, Acid Jazz, Marche Rocket, Trauma, Willie the Bomb Richardson. If you know anything about independent wrestling and Chicago wrestling, the Soul Touchers should be at the top of your bucket list to see them. As far as it goes, though, general manager, I try to be very Paul Heyman-esque, because I like how Paul Heyman speaks, and I like how edgy he is. Not that he's the general manager right now, but he's been general manager before. And and even when he comes out as the wise man, he's kind of got a managerial role. And I just love the swagger, the confidence. Do not mess with me, because I'm Paul Heyman. So, I've always had that kind of idea in my head of the character I wanted to be. You know what? I'm going to say whatever's on my mind. I'm going to react in the moment. And if I get my ass kicked because of it, so be it. So, I've always been very outspoken as a general manager, and I get in the face of anybody that gets in mine. And, I've been beaten many times for it, but that's always been my appeal as general manager. I don't care if you hit me with a chair, I'm going to tell you how I feel, and you will bend to my will. Now, on commentary, a lot of people on commentary that I draw from. Obviously, to me, Jim Ross is the GOAT. I mean, Jim Ross back in the 90s and 2000s probably was never anybody ever better. To me, at least, I would watch it for that. And when JR wouldn't be there, it wouldn't mean as much to me because I liked hearing his storytelling. And certainly, him and King were a great team, but I like JR more. Tony Schiavone has always been an inspiration. I mean, I got a chance to meet him. Really cool guy, very, very good at doing commentary. I really enjoy what Taz is doing these days. And as much as I despised him at first, I feel like Michael Cole and I have walked similar paths. Now, I haven't been in the WWE, obviously, but Michael Cole of late has basically embraced everything I do. Now, I'm sure it's not because he's watched me or anything, but have you noticed lately that have you been watching? He's been very aggressive lately. Gunther got up in it. He got in there. He's not, and he said in the last episode, I'm gonna be biased in this match. I'm on Pat McAfee's side. I have been biased my entire career. That is not new hat for me. That is old hat. But I love what Michael Cole is doing these days. He is doing the best he's ever done. So there's a lot of great people that do commentary that do it very well. And I'm just, like I said, I'm part of a commentary fraternity, for better or worse. And there's some great local ones too. So, there are a lot of people out there that do this very well, and I'm just happy to be in the fraternity.
That's absolutely awesome. Yeah, just here we go. Michael Cole stealing your bars, flow for flow, bar for bar here.
I don't know if he's stealing my flows, but in my sick mind that believes everything I do is innovative and cutting edge, Michael Cole's stealing my shit.
Stealing your gimmicks.
He's stealing my gimmick, damn it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned earlier also, 2019 is when you went ahead and joined on in the realm of CSW. But now we've been kind of seeing CSW essentially grow a little bit here and there. And I made note, I was listening to your interview over on Windy City Slam not too long ago.
That lovable man, Mike Panko. What a guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out. Good work over there. Noted that you said that the Elmwood Park shows are a different animal. So I'm not trying to, cause a stir. Both venues are obviously amazing. But just kind of wanted to maybe expand upon there. What maybe is the difference between the Franklin Park Arena, the Elmwood Park, and then obviously you can also talk about the Underpass show that's coming up too.
Okay, so Elmwood Park is a giant facility. If you've been to Franklin Park, and I know you have, it's a nice sized facility, but some nights you feel like you're a lobster. I mean, you're all cramped in. The place is packed. There's wall to wall people, even in the bar they're watching. So, Franklin Park has been just a godsend to CSW. It's a place where we do the show and the after party, and everybody gets to hang out with the wrestlers, whether they're the special guests or the roster people. And it's a good time. And it's very low maintenance because you're already there. So you walk into the other room, you grab a beer, you come out and you talk, and you can get your interviews for your podcast. You hang out, you talk to, people like Rhino, people like Tommy Dreamer, and it's pretty simple. At Elmwood Park, it's about 3 times the size of Franklin Park. So the opportunity for bigger crowds is significant. In December, we did over 700, wow, which is a pretty good night. And just this past Friday, May 16th, it was every bit as crowded that night as it was. I haven't heard the final numbers, but I imagine they have to be pretty similar. So it's just a different kind of vibe because it's a bigger crowd. And it seems like since we're only doing Elmwood Park twice a year for the finales that we do, the mid-season finale and then the season finale, May and December, it's got that big, big pay-per-view type feel, I guess you could say. So the energy is excellent in Franklin Park, but it's a little different in Elmwood Park. So it's really cool. It's not like you're seeing a different show, but you kind of are seeing a different show. Everybody, when they get to that show, it's tension's a little higher. match times go a little longer because everybody's in the moment. That's why, I felt like I did WrestleMania. It was almost 4.5 hours, which is on commentary is a long time. And I'm sweating through my shirt because, you get really into it when the matches are as good as they were. And then now this thing that's happening at the Underpass, this is basically called CSW Academy Upstart. So this is all about the kids that work and train at the CSW Training Academy. It's a chance for them to get exposure in a wrestling setting, even though it's outside. We had a pretty good crowd, and the weather sucked last year. God help us. I hope the weather is better this year.
Yeah, it was a little
but
rainy
it's
last
also
season,
Steve Boz's birthday show.
Oh.
So Boz, is a man that loves the ground he walks on. Boz is the greatest. Just ask him. And I kid Boz, but he's earned the respect. So he gets the birthday show, and he gets to showcase all of his kids. So Franklin Park's one show, Elmwood Park's another, and CSW Upstart at Underpass is something completely different. And crazy stuff happens at that show. Last year, the monster Hades, X1X, you know that character, right?
I believe so, yeah.
He wrestled in Bermuda shorts and sandals.
Oh, my God.
In a rainstorm.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, things get a little wonky at the CSW. Can't wait to see what happens this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So between obviously the parking lot of the Underpass, nice venue both at the Franklin Park Arena and the Elmwood Park venue as well. What's the strangest place you've ever been booked for a show? I've asked our boy Axel Rico about this one. He gave a pretty good one.
Axel Rico, boy, that's a guy that you could spend 5 days talking to and not even scratch the surface of what he's been. I'm good friends with his father, Francisco. That's a story for another time. The strangest place. There have been some strange ones. Crash Tested Wrestling used to wrestle in a church.
Okay.
Like, we used to do commentary from the altar. That Catholic upbringing, watching the priest, breaking the bread and blessing the wine at the altar. And I'm calling, somebody's busted open from a chair shot from that same altar. It was a small community church in Munster, Indiana. So that is a strange place.
Those by gods are going to hit different.
Yeah, it's it's certainly with the statues of Jesus and such, it certainly changes the dynamic of what you're trying to do that evening. We had another run at Crash Tested Wrestling when it came back briefly, where we were working in this little hall, and the ceilings were so low that we had kind of a title on a rope match. It was not a title on a rope match. It was a paper contract duct taped to the ceiling. So that was kind of a strange scenario. I've been fortunate. All the promotions that I've worked with have some really nice homes. Frontline Pro, where I'm going this Saturday in Wisconsin, they have this beautiful bar and grill that's just massive, called the Bakerville Bar and Grill. And it is really a cool place to do a show. There's upstairs seating, downstairs seating. There's a full bar and grill, great food. So I always enjoy working at Bakerville. It's a very unique venue. I remember when CSW ran at Edison Park in the upstairs of a restaurant. That was a strange thing. Bishop Guerin's school, where it's the biggest place and the longest walk you've ever had. So, like I said, there's been crazy places, but I've been pretty lucky. Axel Rico has wrestled in some closets. I worked for a promotion. Before it was called IPW, it was called something else. I worked there, and they worked in a storage unit in Dalton, Illinois, like where you would put your car or where you would put some furniture if you moved. Oh my God. And it worked. It was a nice crowd, fun place, but you could really anywhere you could put a ring up. We worked at a flea market once, so
nice.
Yeah. Now you're opening the floodgates of all the bad memories. So I'm closing that dam right off. I don't need to go back.
I know. Now it's kind of a little becoming of a trend of some minor league baseball teams having some independent wrestling shows there. I know the Windy City Thunderbolts. Yeah, you usually put together some pretty good shows.
Rocket Pro Wrestling is very active with minor league baseball, and they haven't done shows with them yet, but they do fundraising and charity work with them. So I imagine a show is imminent at some point.
I would hope so. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Well, kind of wanted to carry on and get into maybe a little bit of the roster, maybe just talk about some of the competitors that we usually see here in CSW. But I want to say first and foremost, let's hear it for the gals, let's hear it for the girls, because I want to get your thoughts on the woman talent that is, I mean, let's say I would say graduating to the big leagues, including big names such as Sky Blue, Heather Reckless, and Maggie Lee, all coming through the doors of CSW. I just want to maybe get your comments and your thoughts on all those big time names coming through those doors at CSW.
It is I have said it for many years. One of the strongest things CSW does is put women in a position to succeed. We have had many shows where the women have been the main event because they are the main event. Obviously, you talked about some of the people that have enjoyed international success. Certainly, Sky Blue, probably the biggest name right now. Let's not forget about her predecessors. The first ever CSW women's champion, Missa Kate. I kind of feel like she doesn't get the due she deserves. She has been grinding for a long time, and she has been at NWA. You see her backstage at AEW, backstage at TNA. She's out there, and she just faced Marche Rocket and took Marche Rocket to the wall. He chopped her 3 times, and she kept going for more. She slapped him in the face so hard that I'm pretty sure some of Marche's fillings got knocked on the floor. She is a hell of a competitor and deserves way better than she's gotten in this business thus far. Same thing with former CSW Women's Champion Sierra, who to me right now might be one of the best women wrestlers in the business right now. She gets none of the due she deserves. She is a road warrior. She is as skilled and versatile as it gets. So I'm very fond of that package. Now, obviously, Maggie Lee is on a rocket ride to the top right now, and she's earned every bit of it. She's a fantastic performer. Dreamwave World Champion, CSW Superstar, now at TNA. And looks like she's joining Heather Reckless's faction, of all things.
Yeah,
and, Heather Reckless, I remember when she started. She has improved every year exponentially. She is a terrific talent. And the list goes on and on. Right now, Amina Belmont, as much as my character is at odds with her, fantastic talent. We got Blair Onyx back. Her spider gimmick is one of the best thing in the indies right now. So, the line at CSW for the women, Lily La Pescadita, NWA, she was at the 76th The Philly show. So, she's representing right now. So, the sky is the limit for the women at CSW, and I think it will continue to grow. All the guests are wanting to come. J-Rod was just there. Natalia Markova was just there. Megan Bain has been at CSW 3 times before she hit it big at AEW. So, we are a place where, women can come and work and get serious, good work, not gimmicky stuff. And I think that's what makes CSW special.
It is a very important part, not the gimmicky stuff. You get there, you're from top to bottom. You're gonna get a great card. And I made mention
people were talking to me about the Marche Missa match. Marche's gonna kill her. This is a gimmick match. You watch that match, and you come back to me after you see that match, and you tell me that was a gimmick match. There's nothing. Those 2 people who are so close went at it tooth and nail. That is one of the things that goes so well. The camaraderie and the dancing, as you will. Everybody has infinite trust, and that's what it takes to make good wrestling.
Absolutely. And I just want to ask, maybe, you put over a ton of people right there when you were just mentioning it, but is there anyone that you're really really rooting for? Is there anyone that you feel like just maybe just deserves maybe a little bit more light, or just exactly right, just someone you're really truly rooting for here in the indie scene?
Well, I always root for Axel. I think Axel, if he doesn't make it big, it's a waste of a man that has a brilliant mind and has all the talent in the world. Bruce Hamilton is on a rocket ship into the stratosphere. He's real good. Conan Lycan. I mean, I can't say that he's underrated because people know who he is.
I would watch Conan Lycan read the newspaper.
Right. I just saw on social media today that Ice Cube's kid, O'Shea Jackson Jr., was shouting out to Conan Lycan. So, if one of the boys in the hood is repping you, then you've pretty much arrived. Putting people over is easy because they all earn it so well. There are other people that have been in this business a long time that I feel like have been cheated out of opportunities. Marche Rocket, although he's with NWA right now and he's been with Impact, kind of feel like a lot of the big companies missed the boat on him, as he is one of the greatest minds I have ever encountered in this business. Joey Jet Avalon should be on TV every week slapping Chris Jericho in the face. Every week. He's one of the best I've ever seen. So, you've got these guys that are older, like Damian Priest. Maybe we'll still have a shot before they hang it up. You hope so, because they're so smart and so savvy and so intelligent. I'll put over Shaq Jordan, the man that just whipped my ass all over Joliet, is the total package. He can do everything. He can ground and pound. He can fly. He is fearless, and he is one of the keenest wrestling minds I've ever. How can you not be one of the greatest if you can take a 55-year-old man with limited wrestling experience and bring the crowd to a standing ovation? And we had 500 strong at Rocket Pro. So if you can do that with a 55-year-old man, meaning me, you can work anybody and do anything, in my opinion. So heads up, special shout out to Shaq Jordan, one of the greatest.
And we've been kind of coming to this conclusion here at Bad Karma Wrestling that I think the age for primes is kind of getting pushed back a little bit, where you see exactly right, where Damian Priest is like, he's kind of hitting his stride right now. LA Knight, same thing. He's kind of in his mid to late 40s. Like the age really isn't an issue. If you take care of your body and you're still performing really well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, even up until RVD got injured not too long ago, he's still going right now, just as fine as he was 20 years ago. So
100%. I was supposed to work with RVD this weekend. He was supposed to be at Honor Bound, but he broke his leg at WrestleMania weekend. Nice. So we're not going to get to see him until September or October, I believe.
And I know he's hosting Only Wrestling here at the Admiral Theater. Another interesting spot for wrestling.
Well, if anybody's going to host a wrestling show at the Admiral Theater, it has to be Rob Van Dam. It just has to be. It's as if that was ordained by God himself. I feel like when you're a little bit older, everybody when they're young, I gotta go. Guys like Avalon and Marche are in it 20 years plus. They have seen and done it all. They've had spot work on the bigs, as supporting characters and such. But they understand what you need to do. The psychology of wrestling when you're a little bit older, it changes, and you're not trying to get your shit in as much as you are trying to tell a story and make the crowd have a good time. And once you understand that that's what it's about, and it's not about how many backflips you can do off the top rope, well, then you're in a different mindset and you have a chance to succeed because your priorities are right.
And again, kind of similar when I spoke with Axel Rico, we kind of had that same idea where you're like knowing your role, not going outside, not doing anything you're not supposed to type deal. Like, exactly right. Just kind of playing your part. So it works out. It works out for those.
When you're a young man, you're full of piss and vinegar and you think you're unbeatable and the best thing walking. You're in this business long enough, you're humbled. You're taken down a peg or two. If you don't make it right away, you're disappointed. Is this for me? Do I keep going? So now you're years on and you're like, any opportunity you get, you appreciate. And you want to make it good for the promotion you're working for and for the people you're working in front of. And that's a completely different mindset than somebody that just is only a few years in the business. They're about looking good for TV. You should worry about what you're doing to promote a company and to promote a storyline as opposed to getting your stuff in.
Absolutely. Well, before we kind of talk about maybe recapping what happened May 16th, just last Friday over at the last CSW show, I want to ask you a quick one about just kind of maybe just like your favorite moment being involved in pro wrestling, whether that be an in-ring spot, maybe a GM decision that you made that really laid down the law, or maybe just witnessing something really, really special. What was your favorite moment so far?
Wow, there are a couple of them. There are a couple of them that jump out of my head immediately. I got to do an in-ring sit-down interview with Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle.
Ooh, nice.
That was a pretty humbling moment for me because, he was right in my wheelhouse as being one of the greats. So that was a very special moment for me. There was a night that was not televised because the company involved made us pull off IWTV. It was the night Sky Blue was supposed to fight Missa Kate. And Missa Kate was either injured or had a family emergency. Something happened and she couldn't be there. Well, Sky was traveling with her new friend, Kyle Fletcher, that night. He was there. So at the last minute, Kyle's like, yeah, let me fight you. So it's Sky Blue in the rings, making an open challenge. Kyle Fletcher coming out to accept. So now you have two AEW superstars in that ring. And the fans are at a fever pitch. And Sky's like, do you want to see this match? And the fans are like, yeah. And Fletcher's like, wait a minute. I'll do this match, but on one condition. I need my own special guest referee.
Oh, man.
And he hit the music, and out of the curtain comes Will Ospreay. And you want to talk about 300 people sounding like 30,000 people? The place went beyond crazy. And I did not know this was happening. So we're on commentary, and all of this is and we're having to react to this in real time. We thought Missa Kate was going to be there. So when they came out and said Missa's not here, Sky, we're like, wait, we're looking at our notes going, what did we miss? They purposefully did not tell me so they would get the genuine reaction.
Good move.
I have still yet to hear it, but those that have heard it say it's one of the best things that I've ever done. I may never hear it because AEW put the kibosh on it, but the way Kyle Fletcher beat Sky, they did some shit in that ring that humans probably shouldn't do to each other. And, you know, when you have a comfort level of boyfriend, girlfriend, you're in a relationship and you're both really good at your craft, then you will put your life in their hands. And boy, that pile driver off the top turnbuckle, I see it in my dreams. I don't know how she didn't die, but
yeah.
The fans loved it. I loved it. Everybody loved it. That's a moment that's hard to get. And I'll tell you what, of all the 12 years I've been doing this, last Saturday night at in May at Rocket Pro Wrestling, my last in-ring match, easily my greatest moment in wrestling ever. Friends and family were there. It was a good match. I bled. I got concertoed. So everything that fan Steve wanted to experience in this business, in one night he got. 500 people chanting my name as the hero. 500 people wanting to carry me out of there when I was hurt. It was a spectacular moment. So I don't know if it'll ever get any better than that. But those are three of my favorite moments from the last 12 years.
That's absolutely fantastic. I mean, just try to convince my girlfriend after that match with Sky Blue and Kyle Fletcher, like, no, babe, like, it's okay. We can do this if we can work this out. We can figure that. No. So she was still not on board with it. Understandable.
I get it. Like I said, there are just certain things you're like, wow, you'll never see that again. And it was amazing. I was just blessed to be there.
Good move. Absolutely right. Well, exactly right. We could kind of talk about that, and then just kind of actually I wanted to recap exactly right. May 16th, the edition of CSW from top to bottom. Had some fantastic matches. But not only that, a steel cage match. You mentioned the World Heavyweight title match. Obviously, also Hans Carden retains his Metro Division championship. His Metro
that was a little sketchy. That was a little sketchy. Here's the thing. For a moment there, everybody at CSW thought Tommy Dreamer was our new Metro Division champion, which means Dreamer comes back for other matches, which is great. The problem was, he used the brass knuckles. And what most of the people do when they use the brass knuckles, they either put them in their shorts or they toss them away. He decided to hold the title with them.
Oh.
And even a blind as a bad official like Kevin Woods saw him reverse the decision, much to the chagrin of a capacity crowd. So it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Match of the night, no problem, no contest. Had to be Lycan versus Dijak. What those two men did in that ring brought the house down. It was an incredible match. And that is saying something because the steel cage match between Quintero and El Sueño and Nestra, it was the end of a storyline that has taken a year to tell. And Nestra was terribly injured in that same building in a match versus Quintero. So back to the scene of the crime. And I remember that injury very viscerally because when it happened, everybody thought it was part of the storyline until it wasn't part of the storyline. And then the IWTV broadcast, they turned the feed off, but they kept my commentary rolling. So I am talking about what everybody's reactions, the gurneys coming in, the medics are there, the ambulance. So I'm basically narrating the injury and the fact that Quintero could be, or Inestra could be dead. So when I listen back to it, I'm like, my God, this is as close as I'm ever going to get to when JR had to do commentary and tell everybody the Blue Blazer was dead. Owen Hart had died. So, it was one of those moments, and I was in that moment going, this can't be happening. But you still had to do your job and be professional. So whenever I hear that, I feel good that I did my job, but I hope I never have to do it again.
Yeah, yeah.
But Quintero, the steel cage, they did stuff in that ring. It's exactly the way I set it up that way, because they were going to hurt people outside the ring. They were going to hurt security in the steel cage. All they could do was hurt themselves. So that was a great match. As I said earlier, Missa and Marche, people thought it was going to be a joke. It was no joke. So that's match A, B, and C as far as fantastic. And then there was the Warhorse versus Marston in an I Quit match. Marston made Jake Parnell, the commissar, quit.
Wow.
Was not my bingo card that night. I would have lost my house on that bet. But here we are. So, and right now, that's another guy we talked about who should be doing things at a different level. I don't think there's anybody better in the Chicagoland area and in Wisconsin and all over the place than Jake Parnell. He is categorically one of the best technical wrestlers I've ever seen. He is unparalleled. He's number 132 on PWI's list, and probably should crack that. Probably should crack the Hot 100 this year, because he's just gotten bigger. He's just gotten better, and his character is savage. So big ups to Warhorse Jake Parnell. Who would have thought that when he went from the Slim Jim face paint to this character that he would just get that much better? Certainly not me.
Better with time, absolutely, and he has a great online presence. I love his interactions with the people, and then just him posting his stuff online has been absolutely fantastic.
Man,
that's how you grow the character each time.
He knows how to cut a promo. That much is absolutely certain. Maggie versus Samurai Del Sol. You want to talk about a feather in Maggie's cap? Beating a legend, beating Kalisto from the WWE. I mean, that's an amazing thing for her. And he was so genuinely excited for her when she got that victory. They had a really great moment at the end of that match. So, there so many great things. The Shy Style Rumble was made just like the Royal Rumble. 2 men started, coming in every 5 minutes until all the people were in there. It started with FXB and Axel Rico, and they were the last two. Axel Rico wins. He gets the title opportunity.
Iron Man.
Hopefully he gets his championship back, because nobody deserves it more.
Very much true. And one of the biggest things for me, honestly, was new CSW championship, but at the very end, new CSW tag team champions. My apologies. But it was the turn for Adam Stallion on Cypher. Didn't see that coming at all.
I am disgusted by the whole thing.
Yeah.
I am disgusted that the Made Men now have all the titles. This is the GM speaking. I am disgusted by all of it. I'm disgusted that I was overruled and they let those two idiots have a title shot. Now, Boz, quintessential tag team champion, I get it. But he and Bruss have been a tag team for exactly 8 minutes. And to give them the number one contendership bothers me. But it is what it is. And you said the Adam Stallion heel turn. It was terrible. It was a horrible moment, because he was one of the great heroes at CSW. Yes. You could always count on him. And now he's turned his back on his friend Cypher, who he got out of the mask and has made him into a household name. And now he's turned his back on him. It's going to be very difficult for me to hate all over Adam Stallion on commentary. Oh, but I will. Because he broke my heart and broke our spirit.
I know it's going to hurt, because I loved Adam and Cypher coming out, jumping around. That was the absolute treat. And then even used to love seeing him with the chips, miss the chips. But again, that's going to be gone. It's going to be all gone. You just flush that all away. Unbelievable.
Maybe he'll be the commissar too. Maybe he'll join a faction with Warhorse. He recruits people, so you just never know.
Oh, okay. Well then, and obviously also, Amina Belmont, I believe she would have retained her women's championship. a little bit of a mouth on her.
She does, and I have basically put landmine after landmine trying to take that title away from her. I have given her the best challenges possible. J-Rod, Natalia Markova from NWA, Missa Kate in the 3 stages of Hell match, and she's won every time. This time I thought between the Spider and Lily, there was no way she was going to win, but here we are. Could she be one of the best CSW women champions history? I hope not, but it might be true because she's putting on quite a run.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to ask also, you've had tons of guests over at CSW, very notable names, obviously just recently, Donovan Dijakovic, Tommy Dreamer. You always have Hornswoggle around St. Patty's Day, usually pops around that time. I just want to ask you, maybe, do you have a dream guest for CSW?
Wow. You know what? I
don't want to get you in trouble, but
I don't dream because be careful what you wish for. You may get it. We had a guy named Scott Garland. Not going to say anything because my mom said don't say anything nice if you're not going to say anything at all.
Fair enough.
So not so hotty indeed. But we've had some really great guests. Jacob Fatu was a guest at CSW. Despite some of the off the mat activities, hell of a guy. Luchasaurus, that was who saw that coming. Will Ospreay, lovely human being. I mean, who if you've had Will Ospreay, what am I looking for John Moxley to show up next week? I don't know.
True. That's true.
So, I'll say, we love anybody that will come out to do it. So do I have a dream guest? I mean, sure. Why don't I shoot for the moon? Why don't we have The Rock come out? Have old Dwayne come out to Franklin Park and do a little partying. I would love Jericho. Okay, let's just start. Jericho, 100%. Give me Jericho anywhere. I want to work with Jericho because I think Jericho, of all the wrestling personalities I have enjoyed over the years, Jericho the most versatile. Jericho the most entertaining. Jericho draws you in like nobody else. From the moment he was Y2K, the Y2J problem, back in the early 2000s, to right now at AEW, when he did that program with Matt Hardy, the Deletist, as they called him at that time, with the what do they call those things? The drone, with the drone.
Yeah.
So much great theater he has created. I would love to have a show with Chris Jericho there. I don't think it would ever happen. I think he's too big, probably would ask too much money. Working with Kurt Angle, though, between that and, I've had a chance to work with Mr. Anderson a couple of times. Godfather was great. So if I had to have anybody, got to be Jericho.
Oh, that'd be fun. And obviously, exactly right. Because, he invented everything. So it's a good way to get him on.
I want to get on his list just once.
Absolutely. Well, I kind of want to just maybe kind of switch it up, maybe the last couple of minutes here, kind of switch it up, maybe talk about some mainstream wrestling. Just any thoughts currently on, the main storylines over in WWE or AEW? What's really catching your eye between, I don't know, anything between John Cena's 17th title reign, his heel turn. Karrion Kross is red hot right now. And then over on maybe the AEW side of things, maybe just like I said, John Moxley and his lack of title being shown. I just want to get your current thoughts on maybe any big storyline that you're focused on or really enjoying as of late.
I am enjoying the John Cena thing, not for the reasons you would think.
Ooh, okay.
That is some spectacularly advanced storytelling. And then after he won that title at WrestleMania, and everybody was just, and it was it was not a high energy match. It was not a particularly stellar match between John Cena and Cody Rhodes.
No, not really, no.
And his interview post was not spectacular. And it goes back to what he said before WrestleMania happened. I am going to kill wrestling for everybody. And from the uninspired match, which I believe they did intentionally, to the lack of any kind of reaction, to his phoned-in appearance, to the fact that he looks like he doesn't really care, he is essentially ruining wrestling one appearance at a time. And that you got to just give all the credit in the world to him and Paul Levesque for daring to have the criticism they got the day after WrestleMania to stay true to the storyline that I think by the end of the year, to me, it's legendary. And people are like, no, John Cena sucks. He can't wrestle anymore. He is playing you like a damn fiddle. It's amazing what they're doing with that character. It's the understated nothing that they're doing that is absolutely brilliant. So I love that. And on the AEW side, Sky Blue returns from injury. That was the holy shit moment for me at AEW this year. She almost had to retire. That was a very, very serious injury. And the fact that she came back and was energetic and did not have ring rust is a credit to who she is, how she works out, and the people that trained her. So, those are my two favorite things in wrestling right now. And there's plenty of other good stuff. I mean, what they're doing with Seth Rollins and his new faction, that's a very interesting angle to take. And it's a good time to be enjoying wrestling on TV because there's so much of it and everybody's focused on stories and characters. Hell, Michael Cole is getting involved in matches. That's good for all us commentators, man.
That's true. When you setting a nice little standard there for you guys, would you agree that this is, at any point in time, at any point in day, Monday Night Raw, there's Tuesday, there's NXT, there's Dynamite, Thursday got TNA, Friday, anywhere between your local indie and Friday Night SmackDown. Every single day is wrestling. Is this truly the best time for wrestling of all times? I know the golden age was the 80s, but is this really the best time?
You would have to believe that right now to find it and watch it and consume it, it doesn't get much easier. I mean, it's around you. It's out there. You don't have to drive 700 miles to go to a local wrestling show. And they're well advertised. You look on Facebook for 5 seconds, you will see somebody hawking a show that's happening this weekend near you. Plus, with what WWE and AEW are doing with multi-nights, and Saturday Night Main Event is coming back. So that's another thing. And now every month you're getting these, paid events. WrestleMania, now SummerSlam are all 2-night events. I mean, you want to talk about milking the tit. They're doing that, boy. They're milking it. They're getting all they can out of it because you don't know when it's going to dry up. And we always go through that period when it's a boom and everybody feels good and it's really good. There's always a period where it backs off and kind of settles. And then they're like, it's not as cool anymore. And then something else happens and it rises up. So, like I said, enjoy the waves because they ebb and flow, just like the business of wrestling. It always ebbs and flows.
Boom and bust might happen, but I think consistency of what is cool is always going to be the indie scene for me. Indie scene is always going to be the top tier in terms of just the underground, the real true sickos really go to the indie shows. So
you will certainly see some crazy things at the indie show that maybe you don't see on TV. But, like I said, as long as everybody's enjoying it, everybody's having a good time, it's entertaining, people are getting to live their dreams. I mean, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Well, just about wrapped up here. We usually do a segment on our show called Shooting from the Hip. So that's we take a topic, something we're really passionate about, anything in the wrestling industry. So I want to give you this opportunity, to shoot from the hip, whether it's, exactly right, taking a shot at somebody or, just like I said, just putting something over, whatever you're really passionate about. What's on your mind? What's on Steve Aaron's mind in the wrestling industry?
I am not about taking shots at anybody, but I'll tell you what, locker rooms are such an important dynamic in this business. And a good locker room is worth its weight in gold. A bad locker room can suck your soul right out of your body. So my message to the world is when you work for a company and you're part of a team, be part of that team. If they need you to help put something away, do it. If they want you to talk to the fans, do it. If they want you to take a loss, do it. If they want to put a belt on you or take a belt off of you, do it. Work with the people that are paying you to do the business. Because if you don't, the world will get around that you aren't very easy to work with. And I am blessed to be in some of the greatest locker rooms I've ever seen. Everywhere I go, Rocket Pro, CSW, Frontline Pro, Wrestle League, Chicago Knockouts Roller Derby. The locker rooms and the people that work there are a pleasure to be around. And like I said, as long as they keep telling an old man to keep coming back, I'll keep coming back, and till I have that big coronary, hopefully on air, because that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? A live on air death. Oh, come on!
It might
Think
get some
of the
numbers.
press.
It
Think of the
could get some
press.
numbers. You could
Think
get
of
some
the
good numbers.
Think of the clickbait.
Well, hopefully that doesn't happen. I hope
Well, you never know.
hopefully all the best of health, obviously.
When we are born to this world, we begin the dying process, as they say. So it's not tomorrow's not promised to anybody, but I'm living in the now, and I'm hoping for the best.
Well, I did want to say quickly, outsider looking in, just as a fan, I see some truth to what you just said right there. A healthy locker room is the way to go. And again, it's been about, closing in on 2025, almost 6 years ago in these CSW shows. There's a lot of consistent names that have been staying at CSW, probably for a good reason, probably for the reason that, like you just said, very healthy locker room. So glad to see exactly right that there's a huge truth to that. Finally, I just really want to say thank you again for your time here, Steve. Just want to, again, give you the time, promote anything, everything, your social media, maybe your next shows, whatever next appearances you got coming up. Let the people know.
All right. Well, pretty easy to find out there on Facebook. I'm me. On Instagram, I'm me. On X, I'm me. I don't do TikTok very much, so I'm not really out there in any guys. I don't understand it. I don't understand how it works. To me, it just seems it's exhausting, but that's neither here nor there. Next show is Saturday, Marshfield, Wisconsin, Bakerville Bar and Grill. Frontline Pro presents Honor Bound, special guest Ken Anderson, amongst other dignitaries. So it's going to be a great show in Marshfield. IPW happening this Sunday, Richton Park. Rion Skills and Max Holiday taking on the program. Lots of cool things, lots of champions from other promotions making guest appearances at IPW. So that's another good one. Later on, obviously, we got CSW coming up in June. June is a pretty quiet time. Most of the promotions take a little bit of a summer break. But like I said, follow the social medias. I'm out there. That's basically all I do is I promote where I'm going to be and what I'm doing so people can get out there and see some cool shit.
Awesome. Again, Steve Ahrendt, general manager of CSW, commentator. Really wanted to say thanks again. And this might either be the end of BKW or we might be going into a commercial break. So either way, thanks again, Steve, for joining us in, and thanks again for everyone for watching us at home.
Viva la BKW and Viva la Illinois Media School. I still want my money back.
Well, they might be holding on to that one. So until then, thank you for joining it in, and thank you guys for watching. Take care. Have a great one.
This is Bad Karma Wrestling.
Give me a hell yeah.
With No Gimmick Nick Johnston.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
And David Double D Dykstra. This is Bad Karma